Hey guys, Mrs. T here. Welcome to the art room. Today we're going to be talking about the wonderful artist Pablo Picasso, and we are going to make very colorful, abstract self-portraits. So let's get started. I'm going to set this up today so that you can see what I'm working on as I go along. All right. Hopefully you started off by watching the introduction video about Pablo Picasso. It talks about who he is, where he comes from, and the artwork that he creates. Pablo Picasso had an amazing history of creating art. He was creative right from the start. To me, he's truly an inspiration because if you noticed in his early work, Picasso was producing, I don't want to say like similar to other artists, but his work didn't have identifiable characteristics that made him stand out until he started a movement called Cubism. Now, Cubism, when you saw it, and this is really what Pablo Picasso is known for, is his Cubist work. And what he started to do was he started to abstract what he was doing. He did this in his sculptures, he did this in his drawings, he did this in his paintings. And you started to see objects that he was creating in a more geometric manner. So there was a lot of shape and line. And one of the other things that I am inspired by with Picasso is his use of color. If you know me, you know that I love me some color. So Picasso naturally would be somebody of interest because his work speaks volumes about color. When he utilized color, though, he considered the color in its emotional state. Color can make you feel a certain way. You know, when we think of the color red, what do you think of? When you think of the color blue, what do you think of? Orange. Does it make you feel energetic? Does it make you feel happy? Colors can represent emotions, and that's how Picasso used his color palette. He went through a phase of his blue phase, where all of his work was reflecting his emotional state of mind, which was blue or sour, sorrow or sad. He was feeling depressed, and so he communicated those emotions through the use of color in his work. When he moved out of that phase, his life was looking up and up, and he changed his color palette to convey the fact that he wasn't feeling sad anymore and he wasn't depressed anymore. So his use of color is very emotional, and I love that. So let's get started on what we're going to be creating today. We are doing abstract self-portraits. The great thing about this project, and most projects, there's no wrong or right. It's all about how you envision this project. So, to start off, the first thing that we're going to do, grab a blank piece of paper and a pencil. Now, I'm going to use a black marker just because it's really hard for you to see what I'm drawing with pencil and the camera. So I'm going to use the black marker, but please, please, please always start by using a pencil. That way, if you make a mistake, you can change it and adjust it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw our heads. Of course, we are so accustomed to drawing a head, in a circle. But I encourage you to think more creatively. How can you change that circle to be a little bit more abstract? Maybe you draw your head with your eyes closed. You could always try that. So I'm going to draw one. I think it almost looks a little bit closer to a bean. Whoops. So after you have your head drawn, the next thing that we want to do is we want to split our face. To do this, I want you to think about the profile of your face. And your profile is the side view of your face. So thinking about the shapes that you see when you think about the side view of your face. The part I want you to think about most, your nose. Don't worry about trying to draw your lips or kind of draw the holes of your eyes. Just be focusing on your nose. So I'm going to draw mine real quick, and hopefully you were able to see that, sorry. So I kept it simple. Of course, if you want to, just draw a zigzag or a swirly line down the middle. That works too. Again, your work, your creative mind, and you have complete creative freedom. Next, you're going to start adding all of your features. You want to add your eyes, your mouth, jewelry, hair. Maybe you have a lightning bolt on your cheek. Whatever you want. But I want you to make it you. I'm going to go ahead for the sake of time, and I'm going to grab one that I've already finished. So here's my finished product. So although I do have my eyes located in, pretty close to each other, they look very different. Maybe you have one eyeball down on your cheek and your other eyeball up where it belongs. Who knows? My mouth is where it belongs, but it's uneven. So just think about how you can abstract your face. Oh, look, I've got my earrings. Can't miss my earrings, right? It's kind of a trademark of mine. So after you have everything drawn and you are happy with what you've created, it's time to finish it up. You have lots of choices of how you can finish your project. The first one is using markers and crayons. Sorry, the color is really hard to see here. Oh, there we go. So if you choose markers and crayons, if you can tell, what I did was I outlined everything in marker, and then I went back in and colored it with crayon. If you don't have markers, you can always use crayon and just press harder on your outlines. Whatever works, works. What I don't recommend you doing is coloring in the whole thing with solid marker. And I say that because remember, markers are not designed to fill in large spaces, only small spaces, because it'll dry out the marker. So there's one option. Another option, if you have it, is oil pastel. So my oil pastel, I kind of got a little crazy with, but oil pastels are fun because oil pastels, you can layer the color. If your oil pastels have their wrapping on them still, that always works out best because so you're less likely to get the oil pastel on your fingers. If you want to layer your oil pastels, it doesn't require you to use your finger to blend. Just simply layer your colors on top of each other. Another option, and this is our final option, is watercolor. If you do not have watercolors at home, in the enrichment section, I talk about how to make homemade watercolor. So if you are going to make those homemade watercolors, you will get 6 colors. You'll get your 3 primaries and your 3 secondary colors, and you can use that to paint. Before you paint though, with the watercolor, I do recommend that you use either a black oil pastel or a black crayon to outline everything so that you can create a watercolor resist, and that way it'll help control the watercolor and keep it where you want it to be placed. So those are your options. The final step, if you choose to do so, completely optional, is to cut your self-portrait out and glue it on a blank piece of paper, which I did only on the watercolor one, just so you can see that finished. So we have many different ways you can finish off this project. Most of all, I want you to have fun, don't be stressed, and it is not required that you send me photographs of your work. However, I would be delighted to receive any that you do want to send. If you want to do this project in a different manner, there's an additional video for kind of next steps. If you want to take it to another level, you can watch the next video, which talks about how to do the same project only using construction paper. So have fun, don't stress, and we'll see you soon. Bye, BME.